Folks, last week we were lucky enough to speak with Lance Lambert from Fortune Magazine about the most important metric in the housing market that no one talks about, and that is inventory, specifically active inventory. He put out a lot of great information here and has since released it on Fortune, a very interactive map that I looked at for hours. So Lance, thank you very much for talking about inventory. How you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. Housing, ready to chat.
Yeah. So I spent the last week thinking about inventory because of our great conversation last week. And I actually have two different topics. So the first one I have for you is I want to talk about active listings today. And if I were to summarize last week's conversation, inventory is down year on year, active listings is down year on year, month on month, and week on week. It's just inventory is down. Do I remember that correctly?
Uh, Inventory active listings are up year over year, but the past
Okay.
few weeks and months kind of, went down a little bit. But the big story being that new listings
Oh, it's
continue
new
to fall.
listings.
New listings are down. Yeah, we're down like 17% year over year, and inventory's up 40%.
Got it. Okay.
And
So
and
the
for those at home, like, how can new listings be down and inventory be up? Well, if homes just sit on the market longer and roll into the next month, inventory can rise even though total listings is falling. But that can
Exactly.
only continue as long as demand is contracting really fast.
Exactly. Yeah, days on market is a statistic that I think could easily double over the next 12 months, right? It was historically low. According to NAR, it went from 18 to 24, and it's going to continue to go up from here. But my question for you is, and it might be something you can research because you have all these great network of housing analysts and people that speak with you, is when I look at my buy box, my
Mhm.
area, I have now come to appreciate that probably 20% of the active listings aren't real. Now, what do I mean by that?
Mm.
What I mean by that is these are active listings that have, first and foremost, June pricing. So, what I've often called wish pricing. They've been on the market 60 days or more and had no price drops. To me,
Mm.
these are listings of home sellers, and I use that term very loosely because what I am hearing from agents, because I talk to them, is this seller says, hey, if you can get me my price, i.e. June, I will sell, else I'm not moving.
Yeah.
So technically it's an active listing. But you and I both know, given the environment that's changed since June, that chances of that selling are not great, especially if it's in the luxury market, which is all but
Yeah.
frozen at this point. So I would like to ask you, does that make sense? Is that something you think you can dig into? 60 days old, no price drops, because I think this distortion of inventory is starting to age out because we have a lot of these fake listings or whatnot. What do you think of all that? Is that just
I,
crazy
I think
talk?
that's I think that's interesting. And I think you hit the nail on the head is where that's going to be is at the top end of the market.
It's the
Um,
luxury, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that's where things have been hit the most. And it has an impact on the data too.
No, it
Uh,
does. Absolutely.
and there's two ways. It makes list price look higher because they're becoming a higher share of the listings, but then it makes sales prices look lower because they're becoming a less of a percentage of sales.
Mhm.
So it's creating a lot of noise, and I would not be surprised if there's some noise in the inventory data because of it too, because it's
Yeah,
just been hit so hard, and it
yeah,
makes sense. Stop.
yeah. I
What are
think
stocks down year over year?
stocks are down like
Yeah,
20%,
yeah,
28% for this, 22% for
yeah.
that
And then the
index.
tech side of it
Oh,
was 30.
40%. Yeah, 30,
And
40%.
then all the beta and the stupid stuff is 50, 60, 70.
Yeah, exactly. Then you
Some
go to Carvana, it's like 99% or something, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So
Uh,
again, I think there's a lot of noise because again, you brought it to us. I would ask people to go back and look at your playlist. It's called Lance. That's a great playlist. That's the title of your playlist. But people, inventory is a big deal, and I think there's more distortion or noise, as I think as you called it today. And frankly, I think it grows from here. I think a lot of people sign 6-month contracts. A lot of sellers, and again, I use that term loosely, or aren't even talking to their agent anymore, but it's counted as an active listing, and we'll see days on markets go up. We'll see average prices distort higher, and It's just wild to think about.
Which I'm fine with though too, because even if that's helping to grow inventory as well, in some of the markets where inventory is grown, right? Because
Yeah.
right now things are kind of slipping down a little bit. It still signals the shift in the marketplace. And and really what I want to look at now more so, because this year's over,
Yeah.
what's the spring market going to be like?
Yeah.
Have these builders gotten the rate buy downs just right? Is that going to bring more people out? Is there going to be more price capitulation, which I think there will be on the new home construction side? What's the spring market going to look like?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree. So the next thing I did after thinking about the inventory conversation is I asked myself, what has to happen to cause inventory influx, right? For active listings to go up, for home sellers to sell more, like more listings. Like I got to sell, I got to get out.
Yeah.
And I came up with two outcomes. Now, I don't think either of these are likely, but I only could think of two things. Otherwise, we're going to have a pretty frozen housing market,
Yeah.
which I think is the leading I don't know, horse in the race at the moment. So the
Yes.
first one I came up with is the crash bros are right. Unemployment's going to double, it's going to triple, it's going to happen overnight. We're going to have hundreds of thousands of layoffs come in January and February. Unemployment will go from 3.7 to 7.5, and nobody can find a job, and all of these crazy things.
Yeah.
I'm willing to admit that if unemployment doubles or triples and it stays there for a year, that will lead to more listings because people will have to sell. I think people are distorting the fact that unemployment will be a fast adder of listings. But
Yeah.
if it stays elevated for long enough, it will lead to more listings. That's option one. What do you think of that?
Yeah, and I think I'm not saying that I don't necessarily say that, I agree with Mark Zandi's calls in terms of housing, but I do agree with his framework of housing. And he essentially has it doubling for price cuts if unemployment goes over 6%. Now there's a reverse thought, which is, okay, that happens. Fed backs off, mortgage rates go maybe under 4.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a wild card. I think I agree with Zandy more. I think, now that we've actually seen prices come down a little bit, I think if the economic side of it changed really fast, I think that could change the market in a way that probably pulls prices down more. But I can't ignore the other side of the thought either, which is that mortgage rates would fall really fast. And that has been the lever that has given us any of these price cuts, right? Because its affordability has just gotten so pressurized because
Agreed.
you had this huge run up in prices and then a 1981 style mortgage rate shock on top of it in terms of the percentage point shift and how fast payments went up. But yeah, I generally agree with that framework you have.
Yeah. So again, I'm not calling for this to happen. I'm just trying to play out. I'm trying to ask myself, what would cause inventory to spike higher? And one of the answers I have is the crash bros are right. I will say that all the crash bros that I have heard are their calls for unemployment affecting inventory / price is too quickly. Housing is an inelastic thing. It is slower moving than they would like, but I agree. Double, triple, stay there a year, problem, right? Maybe not in 2023, but
okay. If I was going to play devil's advocate with it, right?
Awesome.
I'm going to play a little devil's advocate there.
Please.
One reason that a really quick shift in unemployment could lead to a greater shift in housing this time around is because of the remote work side of it. So employers do not have leverage to bring employees back into the office. But right over at Fortune, every 3 months I do a Fortune 500 CEO survey and interview the executives, and we know they would like people in the office more.
There's no question.
So let's say the economy shifts fast. Employers finally seize that leverage to bring more back in. Yes. Some people have gotten themselves overextended into the exurbs and remote too far. And if they were the ones to get cut first, maybe that creates a greater inventory shift in the very markets and submarkets that boom the most, right? And maybe that,
Zoom towns. Yep.
yes, exactly. And deep into the exurbs and, what would be almost an hour and a half, 2 hour commute. Those would
No,
be the places.
I definitely think there are. Yeah, I think so. First off, I do think remote work went too far. I think it's going to come back. If it came back, 3 or 4x quicker and faster than maybe I expect, that could have ripple effects. Absolutely. So I love that devil's advocate. Now there's only one other thing that I could think of, and I thought about this for almost a week, that would cause inventory active listings to spike higher. And you actually hit it in your analysis. And that is the 30-year mortgage rate going sub 4%. Now, again, I'm not
It
calling for
brings
that.
back alive the move
Yeah,
up and sellers.
exactly. The move up buyer is what is most broken. And the move up buyer is so important for the housing market because they are two transactions. They are a sale and a purchase. And in order to get this supply lock-in unlocked, is it 5%? I don't think so. Is it 4.5%? Maybe. Is it 4%? Yes. We got to 4%. You got to 4% with 2 points or buy down or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the move up buyer comes back. I think they're like, damn it, I've stuck here too long. I want that extra bedroom for my kids. The bunk beds don't work. They make too much noise. We're going to go further. So again, I think something that could unlock the housing market is a 30-year mortgage at 4%. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that would, and that's what we've seen as mortgage rates have moved up really high, we reached a certain point where we did start to get some price drops because affordability got so pressurized. And as they started to move up, inventory did begin to move up, right? But at a certain point, new listings went down. And that was like these move up we just destroyed the move up market at some point. I don't know exactly where that point was. Might have been 4.8, might have been 5. It was somewhere on that.
Somewhere on that scale. Yeah.
Yes. The move up went down and it actually slowed inventory growth once mortgage rates got so high. It just, like you said, it froze the market.
Yeah. So again, as I sit here heading into March, again, I've called March 15th, phase 3 of this. Phase 1 was demand destruction. Phase 2 was supply destruction. March 15th, we're going to see. At this point, it kind of feels to me, as somebody willing to make a call, we're going to stay frozen. What does that mean? That means total transactions for existing home sales stay plus or minus 4 million. We don't get back to 5 million. Certainly don't get back to 6. I don't see unemployment tripling. I don't see 30-year going below 4. So I think next year is just a housing market that's stuck in the mud from where I sit.
Yeah. And no call on my side.
No, I know. You don't make calls. I know.
Yes.
But again, when you think about inventory, there's only a couple of levers that can really spike inventory. One of them to me is rates, and the other one is creating a lot more motivated sellers by unemployment. I can't think of a third reason.
If I had to create another one, it would be, and I don't even know if this would work out like this because it might just pull listings back even more. But if there was some type of spring market where, there was a falling knife in some of these markets, right?
Yep. Okay.
And I'm really thinking the markets where we've already kind of gotten some of the falling knife, like Austin, somebody coming to the conclusion that 8 years from now, I might not be able to get the same price in Austin. And I read your book, and there was a bit in there where you talked about the history of markets when prices do begin to fall.
Mm-hmm.
And, it takes a long time to get out of that. The Phoenixes right now and the Austins that have moved down this fast, if there is any more type of falling knife, I would suspect the recovery would take a long time. And people have kind of been through that, and some of the investor side might realize it in those markets. But we'd have to go further. I don't think those markets are there quite there yet.
No, I agree. Lance, you do amazing stuff. What is your Twitter handle? Because people need to be following you. And if they do follow you, send him a quick note. Let him know you came from one rental at a time so he knows his time is well worth spent here each week.
Yeah, they can find me at News Lambert on Twitter. And if you see anything interesting on Twitter, always feel free to tweet my handle into it and I'll take a look. And then also you can find my work by Googling Lance Lambert Fortune and find my author page.
Awesome. Thank you so much.